Hello, and thank you for joining us on Newsnight. I am Neota Ebe. At every point in time in a democracy, the people look to see and enjoy service, direction, and ultimately, as we say here in Nigeria, the dividends of democracy. What do? They turn to an individual who is considered worthy of the trust of the people in order to get their desires. And when that individual steps up to the plate and leads with equity and justice, what follows is a society that grows socioeconomically. My guest on the program today is a former civil rights activist and former senator. He takes the time to outline the task before any leader in midwifing a society. He highlights the role and challenges that he will have to overcome. He feels his experience in civil society pre-democracy era prepared him for the task before him. Newsnight sat down to speak with the governor of Kaduna State, Senator Uba Sani. Your Excellency, you're welcome to Newsnight. It's been approximately 3 months plus since you took office. So let's start off with this question. Who is Uba Sani?
Uba Sani is someone that have worked both in private sector, public sector, but started as a civil rights activist. So I can say that I'm a product of civil rights movement in Nigeria. Of course, I was among the people that fought for the enthronement of democracy in Nigeria. And I'm happy I paid my dues at that time, together with the likes of late Chief Ganifa of blessed memory, the likes of Femi Falana, Dr. Biokoro Sonkutu of blessed memory, and many other colleagues. Together we fought for the enthronement of democracy in Nigeria. I can say that today I'm happy most of the people will fought for this democracy together with them. Among the people that today are running the affairs of this country. I want to say specifically, I'm happy President Aswajubu Bola Ahmed Tinubu is one of us who supported the struggle, who was part of the struggle. Today, he's the president of Nigeria. It's something that gives some of us some level of fulfillment. And of course, I'm happy to say that. And I also worked in the past with former President Obasanjo when I worked as his special advisor on public affairs. Also worked with the former FCT minister, Maulana Ahmed Arafai, when he was FCT minister. Came to Kaduna also.
To work with him
as well? I worked with him again. Then, of course, I went to the Senate, contested for the Senate and won election 2019. I went to the Senate and I was nominated to be the chairman Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance, and Other Financial Institutions. So I was in the Senate from 2019 to 2023 until I contested the election for this very important office here in Kaduna. So I have also had some years that I was active in the private sector.
3 months you've been on this seat. How would you say it's been? How would you describe the journey so far?
Yeah, I think it's very challenging, but I'm happy we have accepted the challenge, and I'm happy because the people of Kaduna gave me, I think from the beginning, they have been giving me all the necessary support needed, irrespective of party affiliation. I can say that the people of Kaduna have given me all the support needed. I'm also happy that the support they're giving me is irrespective of their party affiliation. They believe in what we're doing. Maybe because when we came in, we have decided to implement most of the things we promised them during the campaign. Maybe that's the reason why virtually the people of Kaduna are now supporting us. Most of them are politicians, some of them are not even politicians, but they are urging us, supporting us, giving us all the support. That is what is giving me more hope, more confidence, and is pushing me also to do more. For instance, during the campaign, we promised them we are going to focus on 7 pillars of our government agenda. And number 1 is human capital development. That has to do with healthcare and education, and also revitalizing the economies of people at the rural areas and even those small businesses. We also promised them we are going to focus and support our farmers. That is revamping our agriculture and ensuring that our farmers are given all the necessary support. Again, we also promised them we are going to deepen our engagement with the general public. And at the same time, we also promised them we are going to spend a lot of time and with them discussing the way forward and trying to see that we protect the lives and properties of our people. That is in terms of safety and security of our people. We focus on that, and also trying to bring a lot of investment to our own states. On the other hand, we also try as much as possible, a part of our campaign promises, to strengthen our institutions. That's making sure that the 3 arms of government, the executive, the legislature, and judiciary work together. And we've been doing that from the inception of this government. These are the things we promise. I can say without any fair contradiction that we have done a lot in the last 3 months. Okay. And I can be able to outline some of the achievements if you allow me to do that.
But we'll get into that. You came into office at a time, like all your other colleagues in the other states, you came into office when Nigeria was facing a myriad of socioeconomic challenges. But peculiar to Kaduna, for instance, the elections showed our fault lines, our ethnic and religious fault lines immensely. But even before then, that was like the situation in Kaduna. How do you think that in all of these things you've promised to do for the people of Kaduna, do you think those fault lines can be taken care of?
I don't think there's anybody in Kaduna that is talking about religious differences now, or issue of marginalization, or the issue of one section of the state is being marginalized on the basis of religion. That nobody is talking about. I think it's something that we have to move and past that, because as we are speaking, if you look at what we've been doing, I think a lot of people that were complaining in the past are not supporting our government. And of course, I think that is what is really driving us here in Kaduna. So for me, it's something that I believe has to do with giving everyone equal opportunity, irrespective of his own religion. And we are doing that at the moment. And that's the reason why I'm not worried about what happened in the past, but I believe the people now are more united. They are talking about development. And what is more interesting is that we have made it clear to them that we will try and reach out to every section of Kaduna State, all the 255 wards, 23 local government. The issue of politics is over. Whether you voted for me or not, we will try and take development to every part of Kaduna State. That's what they really want.
You have a foundation, the Uba Sani Foundation. Yeah. Now, that foundation has always sought to reach out to the less privileged. Yeah. Now, as a governor and one who, as you said, you want to, first of all, revitalize the economy of even the downtrodden, so to speak. It's a tough challenge with the not so available resources, as all those in leadership will say. How are you going to be able to do all of this?
I'm happy you made mention of my foundation, that's Uba Sani Foundation, but I can assure you that gave me a lot of advantage, because I have run my foundation for many years, and I've been able to partner with many local and international charity organizations. And that's the reason why today, as a governor, some of the charity foundations and organizations across the world have noticed what I've been doing, what I was doing before I became the governor with my own foundation. That is why, for instance, the Qatari Foundation, that's a Qatari charity fund, sat down with me when I approached them about 2 months ago. And I'm happy today to tell you that the Qatar charity fund have decided to build economic city here in Kaduna. And as we are speaking, the project have started since about 3 weeks ago. And by the time they complete it in the next 7 months, they will be spending about $22 million. And that money is free. They are building houses for the less privileged, building schools, building hospitals, and supporting 5,000 orphans with scholarships to go to school in Kaduna. Also supporting our small businesses with some of the businesses tools for them, and giving them starters pack as well as some money to start the business. All this support from the Qatari charity fund is because of my relationship with most of these international organizations. And today, Kaduna is benefiting with about $22 million.
The question one will ask is, interesting, I mean, we heard about the houses they're building for the poor. One will say, at what cost? How much are the poor that are supposed to get these houses, are they going to get them? Because it won't be the first time houses have been built for the poor and it never gets to them.
Yeah, I can assure you these houses will be given to the poor free. In Kaduna.
And how would they be selected?
Let me tell you, because that's the reason why this is a question that I asked when the World Bank gave the federal government $800 million loan. You remember I was among the leading governors in Nigeria that fought that the money should not be transferred at that material time to the so-called vulnerable people, because I believe at that time we don't have a register that, for me, is really, really, really updated. Because I believe if we don't take time, the money will go to the wrong people. So here in Kaduna, I remember last month I signed executive order to ensure that we address the issue of financial exclusion in Kaduna. Why did I do that? Because I came in having served as a senator in Nigeria for 4 years, and I was the chairman of the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance, and other financial institutions in Nigeria. I have the data, I have the record, I have the statistics of the people that are excluded financially in this country, not only Kaduna, but virtually every part of Nigeria. And that data you can find it in either Development Finance Department or Central Bank, or you go to the NDIC. These agencies, I oversaw them for about 4 years. So I was the one overseeing them for 4 years. So in any case, because of that, I had all the statistics. And that was the reason why I quickly came to Kaduna when I was elected and said, look, the most important thing is to ensure that the vulnerable, the underserved, are brought into financial services in our own state, meaning about 70% of them are unbanked. And by implication, they're financially excluded. So talking about these houses, I have the statistics, I have the data, I know the poor, and I know the vulnerable, and I know the underserved. And that's the reason why we will not use politics. And I kept emphasizing to the people of Kaduna, from 29 May, the issue of politics is over. It's about governance. We have taken the oath to be fair, to be just to everybody in Kaduna, irrespective of his party affiliation or his own religion. So the way we're approaching this issue is not looking at issue of politics. It's getting to the right people. And in Kaduna State, because I've run a foundation for many years, and let me even inform you, when Chief Gani Fahmy, blessed memory, had his own Chief Gani Fahmy Foundation, then I was one of the board members of that foundation. So I've known this issue many years. And Gani Fahmy selected me. Then I was 20-something years old. I started being a board member of that foundation. So I'm someone with that experience, with knowing that the most important thing you need to do to help your own community, to help your own society, to help your people, to ensure that you target the right people for support. And that's the reason why people certainly believe in me, knowing my track record, knowing my antecedent, knowing where I'm coming from. So that's why I don't have any problem approaching this issue.
You know, I'm almost tempted to say I'll move my family and come and live in Kaduna.
Thank you.
But
thank you very much.
Interesting. Let's move again and look at this matter. Some of the things you talked about in your campaign promises: security, social security, human capital development, infrastructural development, reuniting the people of Kaduna.
Yes.
That is a very important, it's like a deep wound that will need a lot of bandaging and medicine to revamping education and health sectors are top on your sustain agenda campaign manifesto. Now, let's look at uniting the people. Tell us, how have you been able to unite the people besides throwing money at them? Is it about money?
No. I don't think money is even the issue. Like I said, it's about fairness. It's about justice. It's about equity. You have to make sure that as a leader, you build the confidence in the minds of your people. And the only way you can build that confidence for them to support you is to be fair to everyone. I kept telling the people of Kaduna State, because of my antecedent, I don't look at someone as a Muslim or as a Christian, or I don't look at their ethnicity. That is not the issue. I believe we have good people that are Muslims, we have good people that are Christians, and we have bad people that are Muslim. We also have bad people that are Christians. So it doesn't matter about your religion. What is more important is your character, your ability to work, and your capacity. So the way I do my own things with people close to me is looking at you as a human being, not Muslim or Christian. And they know my antecedent. That's why they believe in me. And I can assure you, even in the last election, I won the election because a lot of Christians voted for me. That is the reason. Most of them are people who work together with them closely for decades. You know where I'm coming from. So in any case, that is the key. In Kaduna, the first thing you need to do, you have to be careful with the people around you who are probably religious bigots. Because if you are not careful about that, you are going to get it wrong. And I've sat down after winning the election with the religious leaders, both the Muslim and Christians. And of course, there are people in southern part of Kaduna that have never, ever visited government house for many, many, many years. They visited me. Again, I sponsored 32 bills. You're talking about those that have passed, but not assented. But those that were assented by the president were 3 national bills. And they're not only national bills. They are the 3 bills that really reposition the financial services sector of Nigeria. Number 1, the Welfare Act. Banking and other financial institutions. And when I came to the Senate, it was obsolete for 29 years. And if I don't do that, we will be in crisis. Because remember the economic crisis of 2009. We almost lost all our banks. Why? Because our financial services sector was not really looked into for many years. Again, the second bill is the AMCON bill. When I came in, I realized that while the federal government was trying to save our banks, about 4.7 trillion of the money borrowed by big men in Nigeria was now converted from personal loan to sovereign loan. Meaning the federal government paid the 4.7 trillion to save our banks and buy the loans. When I came, even 10% of that money was not recovered. What was the reason? Because the AMCON Act was not going to work. I amended the Act, put 2 or 3 different clauses. Those clauses I put were the clauses that actually help AMCON today to now recover over 1 trillion from the time I amended the Act. So for me, I amended the Act. I was the one who inserted a clause when I was amending the AMCON Act to insist that if you borrow the money from the bank and AMCON took over the loan, they should trace your asset and take it over, even if you do not submit the asset as part of your collateral.
Has that been functional? Has that
of course,
the implementation of the law?
It's going very well. And I can tell you that's why AMCON today, from the time we amended the Act to date, they have made more recoveries than what they've done in 10 years before the Act was amended. So that's what most of the things were achieved. Look, these are some of the interventions I did as a senator. And that's the reason why, like I said, governance for me is about service. And I believe as leaders, we have to always put our personal interests aside and lead our people with the fear of God and make sure that we're fair to everyone. And that is what is key in Kaduna. Kaduna is a very cosmopolitan state. We have the best institutions here in Kaduna. Whether military institutions, you can see them in Kaduna. When you look at some of the best schools, we have them in Kaduna.
Some will say Kaduna is a reflection of Nigeria.
Of Nigeria. And that's the reason why we welcome everyone. Because truly, I was talking about increasing the salaries of our doctors only yesterday, which I approved that. And why am I doing that? I'm trying to attract doctors from other parts of Nigeria to come to Kaduna.
Not other parts of the world, other parts of Nigeria.
Yeah, other part of Nigeria first to even come, because let me tell you the problem. Let's do it here at home. The reason is simple. Because some doctors are leaving the country abroad. If they can have better services on some state, they won't even bother going abroad. That's my concern. So my concern is that, you see, where doctors are living, our countries to other countries for Ghana first. If you now decide to come up with something in Kaduna that is different, we will be able to have more doctors who are coming from other part of the states to come to Kaduna. That's the reason why I'm saying we are cosmopolitan. If you go out of Kaduna, go out right now, you will see every tribe in Nigeria, you will find them in Kaduna. That is why Kaduna is different. We're unique. We're special.
Let me take you back a little bit. You talked about institutions, schools, the best of schools. Again, earlier we also mentioned the fact that the resources you need for all of these things you put down are limited. Yeah. So, but you go ahead to reduce the school fees of people across the state.
Yeah.
Where would you have the money to pay that? And the schools are complaining that they're not even properly funded.
Let me tell you now. It's very simple. When I came and we get into this government, what did I do? Before I appointed my commissioners, I made it clear to the people that want to work with us. And I set an example. I said, look, we must reduce the cost of governance. That is what the problem is. And I sat down with my deputy governor. She's a very professional person, a medical doctor, a brilliant woman. And I said, look, we are going to run this government together, but we must come up with some very important intervention on our side. She said she's willing and ready to support me to do that. I said, look, Your Excellency, I've realized that whenever new government comes in Nigeria, people buy vehicles. Are you listening to me? Vehicles for commissioners, for advisors. Some commissioners, some advisors have basic salaries, have their bonuses. So what did I do? The first thing I did was announcing that I, Uba Sani, will sacrifice 50% of my salary and my allowance to Kaduna State government to cause the cost of governance. That's number one. Number two, I made it clear that I'm not buying a single vehicle in the next 4 years for the governor. What we inherited, we will continue to take them to mechanics, refurbish them, service them, and use. On my own part, I will use the cars, my own personal cars that I came with, because I can't be a governor without having a car. I already have a car. So what I not have to do? So I said, look, I'm not buying any car. And I was happy when the commissioners also came to me and said, look, Your Excellency, we want to be like you. I said, okay. So we're not buying vehicle for any commissioner. We're not buying vehicle for any advisor. Are you ready also to reduce your allowances? They say, yes, why not, Excellency? Because you are leading by example. I said, okay, thank you. So by the time we do that, we said that we should have spent almost 2 to 3 billion, because you are talking about vehicles, talking about allowances, salaries are being cut. That is the salaries of the political appointees by about 40% in Kaduna. If you checked, just checked. And that saves us a lot of money. And that money, for me, is something that we can use to support education development of our own state. And when people are talking about, let me give you another reason why it was not so difficult for me to reduce the school fees of our students in the tertiary institutions. It's for another reason, apart from saving the cost and using the money to support our educational development in Kaduna State, I also try as much as possible to now say, look, when I look at the 3 major institutions in Kaduna, that is Kaduna State University, Uba Sani Polytechnic Zaria, and College of Education Kapanchan. What did I see there? I realized that most of our students are going to schools in our neighboring states to do their diploma or to do their degrees. And I realized that most of the institutions, I mean our tertiary institutions, which for me is very worrisome, that the level of enrollment have reduced drastically. And now that we decided to reduce the school fees, I know it will come at a great cost to the government. But government is about service. And what is more important to us here in this part of the world is education. Education for me is key because it's the greatest leveler. If I don't do that, only the children of the rich will go to school, because the rich have their children in private universities in Nigeria. If we want to help our people, we have to ensure that we give and support the children of the poor to be educated, because it's the greatest leveler. It's only education you can give to the children of the poor for them to be whatever they want to be and succeed in their lives. For me, so it's something that I did not even think twice doing it.
You've cut down cost of governance by cutting your salary and allowances, and your political appointees have also done the same. And then you're also encouraging the children of the poor to go to school by cutting down school fees, and you're looking for ways to have that. Are you thinking of getting the private sector to help fund some of these schools?
Yeah, let me give an example. Now, you see, we are getting more grants. Let me give you an example. Now, you see, I just talked about Qatari charity, and I'm also almost finalizing with the Kuwait Fund. Kuwait Fund are supporting us with about $28 million as I'm speaking. We'll be the first states in Nigeria to be supported by the Kuwait Fund. They're supporting to ensure that we reduce out-of-school children in Nigeria. As you are aware, Nigeria have the highest number of out-of-school children in the whole world, as we're speaking in Nigeria. And Kaduna State have about 500,000. We are not number 1, we're not even number 10 in Nigeria, we're not even number 15. That is how scary it is. There are many states that have about 700, 800, 900 in Nigeria, but most of them mostly in northern part of Nigeria, for instance. We need to be very active there. We need to be proactive. We need to fight it. And that's the reason why I've gone all out to partner with some governments. And happily, I can say that the Kuwait Fund, we are almost finalizing them, supporting us with $28 million.
Are all these funds coming in at no cost, no strings attached?
Let me tell you, the one with the Qatari is free. The one from Kuwait is only 1% administrative charge. So what do you call it? 1% administrative charge. That is what it is. So let me tell you, governance sometimes is about your knowledge. That was a question I asked Kagame in Kigali 10 days ago. I asked him some question, and he gave me a simple answer. And I was surprised.
A lot of people are concerned about the movement to Rwanda to go learn.
That was the movement
by Nigerian governors.
Yes.
Seeing that, and the concerns that there are a lot of institutions you can learn from here.
No.
Why do you have to go to Kigali to go and learn governance?
Because there's no Kagame in any institution, not even in Nigeria, not even in Europe or in America. Or anywhere. In fact, it's even something that people should be proud of. Why should we be going to America to learn something? Why should we be going to UK or Europe to learn something? We should be learning from America, in Africa. We have a leader who turned his country from a country that survived genocide, 1994, to a country that's sixth safest country in the whole world. Whether we like it or not, he's a great leader. And some of us that are from Kaduna State, where we have ethnic, religious crises, I must ask him a question, one-on-one. How did you turn it around? Because when I went to Rwanda, I went to the street asking, who is Hutu, who is Tutsi? The answer is, we have one language. There's no Hutu, no Tutsi. Don't forget, these two tribes were involved in genocide, where hundreds of thousands of people were murdered. But today, they only speak Rwanda. That is the reason why you must learn. I cannot learn this in America. I cannot learn it in England, not in Europe. I will learn it where I see a great leader that turned it around. Again, it's only in Rwanda. You see a leader where if he's going to get support from development partners, they won't tell him what to do with the money. He will tell them what I want to do with the money. Remember, only a few weeks ago, some of us opposed the $800 million from the World Bank. That's what Kagame do every day. If you give him loan, don't tell him to do this. He will tell you what I need to do with the money. Because a leader should know the problem of his own people. Nobody should know your problem more than you. So taking money, you must channel the money for a good cause. Not simply because they have been borrowed money, you channel it in the wrong way. It will not add any value.
One of the interesting things from Rwanda that I have come to find out is the relationship of government to the citadels of learning. Where the learnings, where research is done in the schools and it's applied to governance. Now, you mentioned institutions, schools here in Kaduna. Would that relationship ever be where you go to the different departments in the university or in Card Poly, for instance, say, where is your research? Bring it to us. Let's add it to what we're going to do in the implementation of this project. Or what have you found out in your research as regards governance, as in your research as regards environment, managing the environment? What is the research results that you have as regards population management or financial management or infrastructural development? Is that going to happen?
Certainly. It's work in progress. Let me tell you. You see, let me just say one thing to you. As a leader, sometimes what I learned from the experience you just mentioned is that, look, as a leader, if you don't work on one day and get angry once in a while about where you are, you are not appreciating the level of the decay within the society. As a leader, you have no room to be just comfortable. You should always sometimes provoke yourself because you need to always remember that you are there for service. You have to turn things around. You must make them work. So that is what a leader should think every day. You don't just sit down and believe it's just something that is impossible. As a leader, you have to make things work. There's no excuse.
Your Excellency, when you talk about the people and service to the people, you talked about when you fight for democracy, it's basically government of the people, for the people, by the people, right? But one of the issues we've had so far is the issue of insecurity. Again, we're going back there. And especially in the Northwest. What would you say are the things that have been exacerbating this issue of insecurity?
Okay, I will be very frank with you and blunt. The issue of insecurity mostly here in northern Nigeria, now is more rampant in the northwestern part of Nigeria. It's a combination of many factors, not only one factor. Number one, whether we like it or not, if you look at the issue of insecurity, you have to now define it in a different way. Kidnappings is also insecurity. Banditry is another level of insecurity. So there are levels. Terrorism, to some extent, is also insecurity. But let me start with the little one, that's the kidnappings coming up to the issue of banditry. If you look at these three that I've just mentioned, they are at different scale. But the first one is largely the issue of the lack of education and the level of poverty, whether we like it or not. Whether we like it or not. Because a society that is not educated, it will be very difficult for you to raise hope. You make the people hopeless. So that is, for me, is the responsibility of the leaders to stand up and to fight it. When I visited the Chief of Defense Staff, who happens to be from Kaduna, General Christopher Omar, I visited the Chief of Army Staff, General Labaja, who happens to be GOC, one mechanized division in Kaduna before he was appointed as the Chief of Army Staff. I visited the Chief of the Air Staff, who lived most of his lives in Kaduna. These are three people that are familiar with the terrain here. They are familiar with the level of insecurity. So I met them and sat down with them individually. How do we get out of this thing? Because all of you have lived in Kaduna. Because in Nigeria, 8 out of 9 senior military officers must pass through Kaduna.
True.
It's either NDA or Jaji or Air Force. So that's the advantage we have. So luckily for me, I went to all of them. We sat down. We had a blunt and a frank conversation. They were very blunt. They said, look, well, they are focusing on kinetic approach. But the leaders in northern Nigeria must focus on another approach of non-kinetic. But non-kinetic approach is not about sitting down with bandits. People don't understand. When they say non-kinetic approach, they thought it's about sitting down with bandits, paying them compensation. No. It's about carrying everyone along. It's about good governance. It's about equality. It's about justice. It's about giving hope to your people. And another thing, you must give them education as you're doing that. So this is what we're doing. And you see, most of those basic amenities, that's why the major focus of our government, when I came in, is rural infrastructural development. Is number one aspect of our government. And that was the reason.
Let's look at those infrastructure now. What are we looking at? Roads?
Roads, yes. Roads, hospitals, building markets, putting mini-grids, and water and sanitation.
No, by law, markets are supposed to be built by the local government.
No, let me tell you what we are doing.
Okay.
When we say rural, market is not only supposed to be built by local government. Here in Kaduna, we have our Market Development Authority in Kaduna, created by law, as we are speaking. And we have built one already in Kajuru. We built one in Savangari. We have the law already in Kaduna. Domicile is a law. So we don't have any problem. But the most important thing is, these are the things we are doing. And let me give you an example now. I have done the groundbreaking of the construction of 3 major roads. Out of the 32, we are starting in the next 1 month, which will be completed in 1 year. I did the groundbreaking of one of the major roads from Igabi local government, Igabi town, to Tani, and to a village called Savambrini. That road is 25 kilometers, cutting across 32 villages. I did the groundbreaking 2 days ago. And I moved to Ikara local government. I did the groundbreaking of constructing a 22-kilometer road from Anchau going to Pala. This is also a road well constructed. They have started yesterday. That will cut across 42 villages. And that local government, in the whole of Nigeria, if you Google Kubo local government, We produce more, our farmers produce more maize than any other states in Nigeria. Just Google Kubau and you see it. Maize farmers there, they are leading as we are speaking in the whole of Nigeria. But they don't have good roads to take their produce to cities. And we're linking our markets in the village with our farms. Again, the deputy governor went to our local government to do the groundbreaking of construction of a road that will link Aura and 2 or 3 local governments within southern Kaduna. As we are speaking, we are going to do the one from Savantesha in Chukul local government up to Kala in Kajuru. So we have 32 roads totaling about 406 kilometers that we are starting in the next 2 weeks. We started some only this week. And this is one of our efforts to revitalize the economies of our rural communities. And the danger is, we look at the statistics, we realize that in Kaduna we have 23 local governments, 10.2 million population, but over 6.5 million lives in the urban local governments, which are only 4 or 5. Meaning we are facing a danger of rural urban migration.
Yeah.
And we ask why. Every time we're doing State Security Council meeting, the Commissioner of Police came with a report of high level of insecurity, of theft, of telephones, theft of this. And from his report is that when people are in the villages, rural areas, woke up and realized there's no any basic amenities there, they came to town to survive. So we have to stop that. What do? We have to ensure that they have mini grid lights. We support the farmers, construct a road for them. We support them with hospital. That is the reason why we distributed state-of-the-art equipment to 290 primary healthcare centers in Kaduna. And we did that by inviting all the head of the primary healthcare centers. They came there physically to Kaduna. 3 in numbers, all of them, the head and the deputies. And we talked to them. We gave them this equipment, and I told them we imported this equipment from abroad. They are from Europe. We imported them from Europe to Nigeria. They are state-of-the-art. And we ensured that they are transported to the hospital there, to the 209 primary schools safely.
Would you also monitor the installation?
And we're, in fact, as I'm talking to the deputy governor of Kaduna State, is the one chairing the committee to monitor, because she was a public health specialist for 25 years before she became the deputy governor. She's a medical doctor for 30 years of her life, and a public health specialist for 25 years. You know? So that is the reason why for me it's very easy. And that was the reason why only yesterday, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation came to Kaduna and said, look, Kaduna is leading in the whole of Nigeria in terms of implementing our MOU in terms of primary healthcare development. Now, Kaduna is #1 in Nigeria. And that's the reason why they came to tell us they want to open other areas, because they now watch and follow my own resolve to sign executive order on financial inclusion. They now said, look, they are going to also add that to our MOU, because you see, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they are about fighting diseases, fighting poverty, expanding, ensuring that they look at financial inclusion. So that's the reason why they said, look, Kaduna, you're #1. They only came yesterday. Dr. Jeremy was here yesterday. That's the country director. And again, in terms of working with our development partners, we are leading. Even if you ask Dr. Faisal, who is the head of the National Primary Healthcare, he was in Kaduna to say, look, we are leading in Nigeria in terms of investing in primary healthcare. We've done a lot. So for me, this is our focus in Kaduna.
Recently, it looks as if you're setting up a state police behind the back door, from the back door, with the recruitment of the 7,000 youth as security. What do you call them now?
Yeah, Kaduna Vigilance. Okay.
Service.
Good question.
And that's something that practically every state in Nigeria is setting up.
Yeah.
Is that not state police on the back door?
Let me tell you the issue here is that when I sponsored the state police, you see, we came to Kaduna zonal meeting and other zone for a public hearing. Virtually every state then in northwestern Nigeria and part of Nigeria, the governors opposed state police. So that's why their legislatures, their senators and House of Reps do not vote for it. I sponsor it. Kaduna supported it, but others said opposite. But by the end of the last government, it was clear to all the governors that there's no solution to the crisis other than the creation of state police. Okay, but at that time, the issue of the amendment of the Constitution by the National Assembly was over. And that was the reason why many states did not react when the National Assembly sent the report to them, because most of the states believe without the state police part of the Constitution amendment, everything is rubbish, because security is the most important thing. Today, why you see this thing happen, let me tell you the genesis. When I fell with my bill to create state police, I came with another bill to amend the Firearms Act. It was my bill in the Senate. I looked at the Firearms Act in Nigeria. I realized that it was obsolete for 17 years. Then I dusted it. But during the public hearing, I brought the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Air Staff, the Chief of Navy Staff, all the security agencies. It was at that public hearing, the former Chief of Army Staff, late Atayiru, came with the report that look, and even the military, even the Air Force, all of them agree that we're liking the boots, that we should add a clause in the act that will allow the state vigilance services to work with the security agencies, because the law as it is, the state vigilance services have no right to hold firearms. So, but they can work with the military and the police. So because of that, when I became the governor, I was talking to some of my colleagues. And that is why today in Kaduna, I decided to recruit 7,000 young women and men to come together to be part of our Kaduna Vigilance Services. The reason why we're doing that is because I have discussed exhaustively with the Commissioner of Police Kaduna, the Director SSS Kaduna, the GOC Kaduna, and the Navy. All of them came together and said, look, I asked them, will you be involved in the process of our recruitment? Will you support us? Today, as we are speaking, the 7,000 youths, very energetic young men and women, are in the Police College Kaduna undergoing the training. And who is training them? The Commandant of Police College Kaduna. Now, is to show you even the security agencies endorsed our result to increase the number of boots on the ground, because security issue is a local issue. When they go to Bindangwari, for instance, you will have only like 50 army, 50 police, then you will have 1,000 bandits. But when you have the local vigilance that are well trained by the police, with the support of the army, and the screening process was done by the SSS. So what did I do in Kaduna? When I was sponsoring the state police, I looked at the minimum condition to get into police. That's the same condition I put for the state police to be in line with the federal police force. I know the rules and I know the procedure. So I brought the same procedure here. Asked the DSS to be part of the screening. Asked the traditional rulers, the religious leaders, to be able to screen those people so that we'll make sure that none of them is recruited on the basis of politics, religion, or ethnicity. People of good characters, people that have any criminal records. These are the people that are there. I'm happy. The 7,000 recruits are there undergoing training. They're very happy. I saw them yesterday. They're energetic. And they have now promised me they will be good people. They will help the state. They will support the security agencies. The security agencies, they want to work with them. And I have no doubt in my mind. They will help us to address our problem of insecurity in Kaduna by the grace of God.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you.
That's our program today. We would like to hear from you via our social media handles. They're right there on your screen. You can also listen to this and previous episodes of the program via our podcast. Just visit our website, channelstv.com/podcast to get started. I am Neo Taigwe, and I look forward to hearing from you. Till then, bye-bye.